Gower, jewel in the crown.
The Welsh coastline, famous for its myths, legends, and the amalgam of nature's best and worst qualities. For the worst quality is the best. To understand the coastline, to appreciate and love it, you must make it an intimate part of your own life and live it. Experience the exhilaration of walking the faraway cliff paths alone, in the wildest of stormy, windy weather, battling against all odds, listening to the winds hurling sea against the rocks, to the accompaniment of thunder, with the flashes of lightning illuminating the spectacle, whilst the heavens lash down the heaviest of rain. So wonderful, so dramatic, so fearful, so unforgettable. Then, exhausted, the elements slowly sink into slumber. Silence and stillness reigns.
Swansea Bay to Mumbles. South Gower starts with Swansea Bay, a sweep of sand that's 6 miles round. The city stands above and proud of its industrial heritage.
Swansea, a once very busy shipping destination. Large cargo ships came into the port through the West Pier. Fishing boats thrive. The West Pier, now revamped, starts the curve of the bay. Near the pier was Victoria Station. Its wrought iron facade rose high into the sky. Travelling along the bay, we come to the area known as the Slip, named after the Slip Bridge, now unfortunately removed. Hordes of families, armed with tyres, hats, bathers and towels, cross safely over the busy road via this bridge to spend a day at the seaside. Once a very busy area with helter-skelter and swing boats on the beach. To the back of the bridge was a beautiful floral clock, fresh bedding plants put in every year by the council. Alongside was the old swimming baths. Small cafe sat under the bridge. Continuing our journey, we come to St Helens Cricket Ground, where Garfield Sobers, the West Indian Test cricketer, once hit 6 sixes in 1 over, playing against Glamorgan. Alongside the recreation ground, where fairs and circuses are held, from where sometimes a keeper could be seen leading a troop of elephants across the road to the sea. On the roadside was the electric Mumbles train, which ran its way stop-start journey to the Mumbles Pier. Again, no longer with us, we are left with many happy memories. Ladders, high prams, all welcomed aboard. Smiling drivers waving to people in the streets as we passed. Now it's a walking and cycling path. My grandfather, a merchant seaman who was a Cape owner, said the only bay which compared to Swansea Bay was the Bay of Naples. Horseshoe in shape, continues to weave its magic.
Mumbles Lighthouse can tell tales of heavy seas and rescues made, but in another weather, trades with tourists, boat trips, Castle Golf.
I remember those long, hot, hazy days of summer. The devotions of Sunday school behind us, my sister and I would hurry home, excited for the freedom ahead. Armed with a prepared picnic basket and the little brown case, my mother would urge us to get in the car where my father would be patiently waiting. The journey seemed to take forever despite the few cars on the road. Oh, the excitement when the sea came into view We would press our noses against the car window and crane our necks to wonder at this great expanse of blue that seemed to stretch for miles. Nearly there when we saw the Big Apple. Our destination, Bracelet Bay. Here we would disembark, quickly unload all the paraphernalia, then wave goodbye to my father as he turned the car around. My father was heading to the Patty Pavilion to do what he enjoyed doing most, playing the clarinet in the Morgan Lloyd Orchestra. Morgan Lloyd was the conductor, his wife Dilys the pianist, and Don Priest the first violinist. Every Sunday afternoon, the orchestra would rehearse before putting on a concert in the evening. This weekly routine was a welcome opportunity for us to make the most of the beach. My mother would encourage us to breathe in the sea air, it will do you good. Early evening, the Mumbles train would drop us off at the Patty, where it was straight to the cloakroom and where my mother would give us a good wash. The little brown case was unlocked and out came our best frocks. We were transformed from beach urchins to sophisticated young ladies. The pavilion was always full, with no spare seats. My sister and I would have to sit on the wide windowsills, allowing us a good view of the orchestra. I would watch my father and listen intently for his solo parts, always proud of his performance. I don't remember the journey home, just of falling asleep, dreaming of clarinets and the bay.
Limeslade Bay, an ancient caravan perched precariously atop the cliffs overlooking Limeslade Bay. Ours for a week. What an adventure! A gypsy running barefoot through grass, mud, sea and sand. Able to breathe the sea air from morn to night, to hear the waves constantly breaking on the shore beneath, their steady rhythm lulling one to sleep. Maybe to find pirates' treasure, shipwrecked doubloons, endless possibilities stretched before one, flights of imagination that knew no bounds. But most of all, there was a prospect of freedom. Freedom from a neat house in a neat street, to ditch the socks and school tie and become a more raffish self. However, the gypsy life in Mum's folk didn't extend to missing Sunday lunch. She went to battle in a lean-to kitchen, whilst Dad reached out to receive plates of roast dinner and was almost decapitated by the stable door as it crashed to, amidst the wind and rain. Didn't I mention the wind and the rain? Oh yes, it rained all week.
Rotherslade. Down for the month of August, excited we meet up with cousins and aunts, move off in our rows like a well-rehearsed band, towards Rotherslade Bay to the sea and the sand. Run from the beach hut, don't touch the tree. Dark steps are slippery, better look out. Then it's into the sunlight and freedom, I shout. Straight into the water, oh it's achingly cold, but exhilaration is making me bold. Beach cricket and rock pools, my feet turning blue. Time for Joe's ice cream as I study the view. Back at the hut there's peach slices for tea, for Brenda and Rita, my sister and me. 50 years on and I'm here to stay. The monkey tree tall now, prickly as ever. It's my time as a grandma to sort out the tea as I watch the young people, copies of me embracing the freedom, the sand and the sea, and falling in love with the Gower.
Gower has many beautiful bays. Visitors travel quite a long way. Locals come too, with full picnic box, glad to be on the beach for the day.
Caswell Bay. A sunny Saturday and Dad with a day off. Up early to begin the preparations. Mum would make the sandwiches and boil the eggs. You couldn't have a picnic without a hard-boiled egg. Towels and a picnic rug would be put in a bag. Swimsuits for Dad and I. Mum and water didn't get on. I would grab my lino and my bucket and spade. A final check and we were on our way. Walking from Sketty Park to the Mumbles Road, we would wait for the green double-decker. The name on the bus made me happy inside. Caswell Bay, my favourite beach of all. A long bus ride through Oystermouth, passing the castle as we climbed. Rotherslade and Langland were first on the route, and then the long slope past the bungalows. The end of the road for the bus, the start of fun for us. But first, my most hated job, hiring 2 deck chairs and dragging them to our chosen spot. Mum would spread the blanket. I would be scurrying around. Dad would dig a hole in the sand to keep the pot nice and cool.
Brandy Cove. Swimming bays like Caswell, Langland, follow on by Cliff Path Green. Brandy Cove, where smugglers dream, and Pulte's stony ballast rests.
Pulte. It's a glorious heavenly strip of land, a place for me, my ultimate home. A paradise of rock and sand, a place to swim, to walk, to roam. On an unnamed beach I stand and stare at the towering cliffs, the unsettled sea. It doesn't take long to become aware that Gower is a special part of me. To the west I can venture into caves, find bones of creatures long since gone. Look at old churches, old Celtic graves. Look down steep cliffs where gulls belong. Follow the path to the cove at Pulte. Look down at the graves of the sailors that died. No trace of the harbour, nothing to see. Just a reminder of that treacherous tide. Gower is where I lived as a child. Wartime Britain, my father at war. But my cousins and I allowed to run wild. We had bikes and picnics and freedom galore. Then, when an adult, I moved away to the bright lights of London to work and to train. But that capital city is no place to stay, so here I am in Gower again. A sombre thought, what they'll do with my ashes? I want them to go somewhere I love. So down on a beach when a wild wave crashes. If I'm lucky, from heaven I can watch from above.
Pennard, Three Cliffs Bay and Oxwich.
Enticing small cafe at Southgate, easy walk to look over the bay. Hunts Bay and Pobbles, pretty to see, always something to find on the way.
Iconic Three Cliffs Bay looms next, perfect as a picture postcard. Ruined Pennard Castle guards the dangerous swirl of incoming tide.
Sea always looks safe and inviting, but good care must be taken each time. No youngsters without taking notice. Keeping lifeguards in view, you'll be fine.
Portainen. It is time to study and talk to the steep rock faces of the beach. If only they could answer your question of who, what, when, why. Answers to the centuries-old tales of the possible and impossible. Some achievements, others disasters. Now looking at the remains of the medieval salt house in Portainen Bay, thinking about the unique mind, thought, planning and building of this magnificent structure. Imagining this medieval wooden pump pumping up the salty sea water into fire-heated vats above to evaporate and leave behind the precious salt for use. But this is all behind us now, not credited, not remembered.
Keep travelling westward from Swansea through sunshine, thunder or shower, past cottages, sheep in fields grazing, this beautiful area of Gower.
Muselade Bay. Ease through rock crack, through a macrame of nets, knots, rotting fish and lobster pots, yellow plastic seaweed rack, seagull wing and slippery drop-down pungency of dank detritus thrown by high tides or carelessness onto wet pebble jewels to reach the beach. We are hushed by ancient rock, elephant crushed, gel spiked at crazy angles, giant strata stretching on the rack, water streaming from the cracks, slaloming towards the sea, and sands, still wet, captures our footprints momentarily as we seek a spot to make our kingdom for the day. The sand is pool puddled, where little ones will splash and scream with the delight of water. But we are impatient to get in the swell, the curl crush of bubbles where we once lost our glasses light years ago, watching the towering quiver of a wave threaten in the sunshine, the unsuspecting father turned away. Choughs call from the cliffs, red legs hidden in the breeze, as they curl furlongs above us. Dogs laugh out loud and chase balls like jaguars, loving this place as I do for its salty freedom. At the end of the day, evicted by tide water claiming the clams and the castles as it has done for millennia, we go back up the valley, singing. Most people who visit this wild corner will see me. I'm not much to look at, for I am dead. I died at this spot on November the 1st in the year 1887. A long time ago indeed. In all these years I have resisted wind, rain and tide, but even I know that I am gradually losing this long battle and that one day will be no more. I once stood tall and proud and did my job with pride. In my glory days I was the three-masted bark Helvetia, and I carried many a cargo along and around these waters. A few days before my demise, I and another bark similar to myself stood off Mumble's Head. Our signal flags requesting a pilot stood stiff in a strong southwesterly gale, but the wind prevented the pilot reaching us. As time passed, the gale worsened and we both were blown back down the channel. In the confused seas, my companion and I parted company. She found shelter off Lundy Island, but I myself struck the notorious Helwick sandbank. Fortunately, my cargo was timber, and the heavy seas lifted me across the bank. Bumpy ride it was too, as I shuddered violently with each grounding. Out of control, I was blown around the promontory of Worm's Head and into Rosilly Bay, where my anchor finally gripped the sandy bottom. Everything seemed fine until the wind changed to the west. This caused my anchor to drag, and my crew were forced to go ashore. I did my best to fight that wind throughout that dark night, but my strength eventually ebbed, and slowly I slipped away. Dawn gave witness to my death, with my shattered hull settling into the soft, lapping sand, whilst my cargo lay scattered along the wide sweep of the bay. Only the tide is ensured to return to the shore. Only a few of my rotting bones, tethered to the sand by time, tells of my existence.
Quieter now. Find Bury home and caravan stacked at Broughton Sands. Holidays with sticky hands and stroll through pines to Whitford Point.
Whitford Point. It's been a long, cold and wet winter. The wind has whistled round my tower. They say it comes all the way from the United States and channels up the Locher estuary. I stand firm and straight. I'm 13 metres high. Yes, I'm looking forward to spring, late this year. It's very easy to get depressed when you're so isolated and abandoned. No, I mustn't feel sorry for myself. I'm a national monument after all. The only wave-swept cast iron lighthouse in Britain. Something to be proud of. I've been patched up from time to time. Poor materials, I believe. And my light hasn't worked since 1920. I do wonder sometimes. Few boats come this way. Few people too. Tourists like the beaches of South Gower. A mistake, I think. You can't beat the wide expanse of peaceful salt marsh washed by the tides where animals graze. Not many walkers either. It's a long trek up from Combe Ivy, and when you get to Whitford Point, it's a fair stroll across the sands. There's the occasional walker with Nordic poles, and day trippers to see the fields of yellow iris in May. You can't beat it. Oh, and of course the do-gooders planting pines to stop the sand being washed away. But that's what sand does. It shifts, and my lovely area is always changing. And those who like to take their clothes off, even in the chilly wind, I can see them if I peep. Is that the sun? Oh, wonderful!
Llanryddian Marsh. North Gower is a different land. Marsh and sheep and estuary birds. Medieval sea walls, emerald words, praise Webley Castle, spellbound still. Llanryddian Marsh is the harrier's haunt. Samphire and buckthorn bloom and tear. Lastly, Penclough, where cockles now rare were scraped out by women with cart and with mule. And they walked all the way to Swansea town, putting their clogs on and changing their shawls before selling their wares at the market stalls. Great characters from our heritage.
Autumn storm. Summer is ended. The Welsh coast rests, waiting for soundless winter. A Ddraig Goch slumbers. October wakes to falling light. Chased in creation, Ophelia wanders, barreling across oceans. Steadily strengthening, she arrives fast, furious, angry, fanning sea, jarring, unforgiving rock. The wooded tree bends as dark fowl watches. With turbulent and dangerous fury, she scatters flora and fauna in her path. Sky glows with sinister orange-black. Apocalypse beckons. Angry, glowering orb clacks with red-eyed glee. Silent, subdued, the world waits. Winds that give benefits are ephemeral. Honour is lost, slowly weakening. Dejected, wretched, Ophelia dies. Storm is ended. Injured Gower lives. Silent, she waits for winter. A thrive goat slumbers again.
Words and voices for this project contributed by Rosemary Brangwyn, Barry Britsman, Kaz Darling, Pamela Davis, Barbara Ellis, Rita Ford, Susan Gilson, Joan Glenister, Jill Govia, Jaleese Lewis, Peter Rees, Sue Shannon Jones and Sylvia Williams. All from Swansea U3A writing groups. Sound effects with thanks to Free Sound under Creative Commons licenses. And special thanks to Derek Copley for his invaluable work in making this recording possible.